Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
We're going to start with a bit of prose. I didn't write it, but it's very much my philosophy, and I hope it's yours. The other day, my granddaughter asked me how I felt about being old. I was taken aback. I don't think of myself as old. Seeing my reaction, she was embarrassed, but I explained it was an interesting question. Old age, I decided, is a gift. I'm now, probably for the first time in my life, the person I've always wanted to be. Not my body, I sometimes despair over that, but I don't agonise for long. I would never trade my amazing friends, my wonderful life, and my loving family for less grey hair or a flatter belly. As I've aged, I've become kinder to myself, less critical. I've become my own friend. I don't scold myself for eating that extra biscuit, for not making my bed, or for buying that silly cement gnome. I'm entitled to overeat, to be messy, to be extravagant. I've seen too many friends leave this world too soon, before they understand the great freedom that comes with aging. Whose business is it if I choose to read till 4 a.m. and sleep until noon? I danced by myself to those wonderful tunes of the 50s and 60s. Sometimes down the supermarket aisle, much to the embarrassment of my boys. And if I wish to weep over a lost love, I will. I know I'm sometimes forgetful, but some of life is better forgotten, and I eventually remember the important things. Over the years, my heart's been broken. How can your heart not break when you lose a loved one, or when a child suffers? But broken hearts are made to give us strength, understanding and compassion. I'm blessed to have lived long enough to have my hair turn grey and to have my youthful laughs forever etched in deep grooves on my face. I can say no and mean it, and I can say yes and mean it. As you get older, it's easier to be definite. You care less about what others people think. I don't question myself anymore. I've even earned the right to be wrong. So, I like being old. To set me free. I like the person I have become. I'm not going to live forever, but while I'm still here, I won't waste time moaning about what might have been, or worrying about what will be. For the first time in my life, I don't have to have a reason to do the things I want to do. If I want to play games on the computer all day, lie in the city and watch old films for hours, I have earned that right. I have put in my time doing everything for others, so now I can be a bit selfish without feeling guilty. I sometimes feel sorry for the young. They face a far different world from the one I grew up in. When we feared the law, respected the old, the king and the queen and our country. I've never felt the need to use filthy language in order to express myself, and in any case, they're going to be old someday. I'm grateful to have been born when I was, in a kinder, gentler world. Yes, I like being old. Now this one was sent to me by a friend who knows my philosophy on housework. Don't do it unless you're forced. I have a sign in my house that says, "Dust experiment in progress. Please do not disturb the samples." And this is called Dust If You Must. Dust if you must, but wouldn't it be better to paint a picture or write a letter, bake a cake or plant a seed, ponder the difference between want and need? Dust if you must, but there's not much time, with rivers to swim and mountains to climb, music to hear and books to read, friends to cherish and a life to lead. Dust if you must, but the world's out there, wonders to find we know not where, a flutter of snow, a shower of rain. This day will not come again. Dust if you must, but bear in mind, old age will come, it's not kind. When you go, and go you must, you yourself will make more dust. And I thought we'd do a quick skip round the regions, and first it's a bit of Irish, and this is the note that Paddy sent to work to explain why he wasn't there that day. Whilst working on the 14th floor, some bricks I had to clear. To throw them down from such a height was not a good idea. The foreman wasn't very pleased, the ruddy awkward sod, and he said I had to cart them down the ladders in my hod. Now clearing all those bricks by hand was so very slow, so I hoisted up a barrel and secured the rope below. But in my haste to do the job, I was too blind to see that a barrel full of building bricks was heavier than me. And so, when I untied the rope, the barrel fell like lead, and clinging tightly to the rope, I started up instead. I shot up like a rocket, till to my dismay I found that halfway up I met the ruddy barrel coming down. The barrel broke my shoulder as the ground it sped, and when I reached the top, I banged the pulley with my head. I hung on tightly, numb with shock for this almighty blow, and the barrel spilled out half its bricks, 14 floors below. Now when those bricks had fallen from the barrel to the floor, I then weighed the barrel and so started down once more. Still clinging tightly to the rope, my body racked with pain. When halfway down, I met the ruddy barrel once again. The force of this collision halfway up the office block caused multiple abrasions and a nasty state of shock. Still clinging tightly to the rope, I fell towards the ground, and I landed on the broken bricks the barrel scattered round. I lay there groaning on the ground. I thought I'd passed the worst, but the barrel hit the pulley wheel and the bottom burst. A shower of bricks rained down on me. I hadn't got a hope. And as I lay there bleeding on the ground, I let go the rope. The barrel, then being heavier, started down once more and landed right across me as I lay upon the floor. It broke 3 ribs and my left arm, and I can only say that I hope you understand why Paddy's not at work today. And now we're going to the borders, but I'm afraid it's in the Yorkshire, so if you want translations later, you have to ask. And it's called Hadrian's Wall, but it was one of Albert Higginbottom, as you know, who was Albert the Lion, and of course it is now Hadrian's Wall. We don't do H's in Yorkshire. When Romans occupied England, having settled everyone's hash, a fellow called Hadrian who led them said, "There must be someone else we can bash." We've chased all Welsh back to the coal mines and kept the Irish back in the bogs. As for the English, they're quite happy, so long as they can walk the dogs. We've even built roads with lampposts, so dogs will feel quite at home. And if English think their dogs are happy, they'll not bother us lads from Rome. The centurion who heard him speak said, "There's one place you've never been. It's a country north of the border with the queerest fellas you've ever seen. I think they call them Scotsmen. You can't understand their talk. They wear skirts with sweeping brush dangling, so they can sweep up ground as they walk." "They sound a queer lot," said Adrian. "We'd better nip up there and see. Call all my legions together and we'll get going tomorrow before tea." So following day they set off, and Roman thought it was fun. Just the time of year for a trip out, and it wouldn't take long up M1. "We'll be there in a jiffy," said Adrian. "It's not far, give or take a mile. We'll catch 12:30 chariot that runs non-stop to Carlisle." When Legion got on chariot, they were in a happy mood. With crates of beer and potato crisps, they didn't have time to brood. Adrian fancied himself singing, and when he'd had one or two, he made Legion stand to attention and listen to songs that he knew. When chariot pulled into Carlisle station, Legion were feeling quite rough. What with beer and crisps and Adrian's songs, they felt that they'd had quite enough. "Right, lads," said Adrian sharply, finishing off last bottle of beer. Get Phil in and stop larking about. Remember, we're strangers round here. Off went Legion with Adrian leading, across moor where they'd never been, and after a few hours plodding, reached a place called Gretna Green. Right then, said Adrian, pull out for a smoke, sit down and take weight off your feet. I'll have a look round this little place, you never know who you might meet. I'll pop into that blacksmith shop and ask him price of breakfast and bed. Just then, blacksmith came out and said, have you not come to wed? Come to wed, said Adrian. They washed their mouths out with soap, saying things like that in front of my men. It's enough to make 'em elope. Elope, said the blacksmith, couldn't be better. There's enough women round here for 'em all. They've been waiting years for fellas like them. Hang on and I'll give 'em a call. Without more ado, he shouted out loud, hey up, lasses, there's enough men to go round. He'd no sooner got words out of his mouth when women seemed to spring out at ground. There were fat uns and thin uns, long and short, in fact all kinds of lasses, and one who fancied old Adrian weighed 20 stone and more glasses. I like the look of these, she said, I reckon I could live in Rome. Adrian, on hearing these words, shouted, come on lads, let's get back home. I don't mind sorting out Scotsmen, it's my job to bring them to order. They'll have a job doing that, said Smith, they're all working south of the border. They've all gone to work in England, there's only me and these lasses, it's my job to wed them off to anyone who passes. Now we'll go to Wales now. By Max Boyce, remember him? I haven't got a lead like him, but and it's the Ballad of Morecambe the Moon. Old Moke the mechanic, I remember him well. He once built a rocket, or so they did tell. From an old winding engine he found on the door, built in the Rhondda and powered by coal. And when it was finished, he painted it red, and he called it Bethania, or so it is said. And he took it up a mountain on a night late in June, to get that bit closer, said Morgan the Moon. Sleepy Treorchy was bathed in white light, when the shuddering hope took off in the night. A deafening scream and then a great roar, and up past the houses old Mark Morgan did go. His heat shield was glowing like anthracite coal, and we prayed down in Cardiff in mission control. The barrow wheels dropped as previously planned, and old Morgan prepared for Britannia to land. He landed like linen on a crusty old crater. Di said he'd get there sooner or later. So off Morgan went in the moon-swirling dust to collect some rock samples from the crater's hard crust. A strange piece of rock soon old Morgan found, just laying there shining on the dust-covered ground. He picked it up closely and let out a call, 'cause written right through it in Welsh was Porthcawl. And one for the English. This is one of Pam's, and it's called The Embarrassing Experience with a Parrot. Yeah, my apologies to Orleans. At the Coxwold Wildlife Park in the very month of May, I paid the man the money and went in to spend the day. Straightway to the pet's corner I turned my eager feet to go and see the rabbits and give them something to eat. As I approached the hutches, I was alarmed to see a crowd of little gobos hollering with glee. I crept up close behind them and weighed the scene up quick. I saw them poke the rabbits, poke them with a stick. Get off, you little beggars, I shouted in their ear. Don't poke them rabbits, that's not why they're here. I must have really scared them in seconds they were gone, and feeling I had done some good, I carried on along. Till beside the parrot's cage I stood to view the scene. They were lovely parrots, beautiful blue and green. In and out the nest box, they were really having fun, squawking out and flying about, all except one. One poor old puffed up parrot clung grimly to his perch, and as the wind blew frontwards, backwards he would lurch. 1 foot up in his feathers, abandoned by the rest, he sat there, plainly dying, his head upon his chest. Well, I walked along the pathway, and I stroked an Annie goat, but the thoughts of parrot dying brought a lump into my throat. I could stand it no longer, and into the office I fled. Politely I began, "Excuse me, your parrot's nearly dead." So me and the curator, in urgent leaps and bounds, with a bottle of parrot cure, dashed across the grounds. The dust flew up around us as we reached the parrot's pen, and the curator turned to me and said, "Which one is it then?" You know what I'm going to say. He was not there at all. At least not where I'd left him. So, no, he flicked from wall to wall. As brightly as a button did he squawk and jump and leap. The curator was very kind, saying, "I expect he was asleep." But I was humiliated as I stood before the wire. The curator went back to put his feet up by the fire. So I let the parrot settle, and after a short search, I found the stick the yobbos had and poked him off his perch. Well, thank you very much. I usually bring you all a little keepsake. I haven't done the ship this time, I'm afraid. But can I say thank you for the pleasure of your company? And I always hope to see you again in April.